Okay. Hey everyone. We are live on our very special mental health month. Well, May is mental health month, so we thought this was a good time to do this webinar, Mind Over Market. And it's we're going to talk about, how to there's some feedback going on. I can't tell if I'm hearing
Yeah,
myself.
there's a little bit.
Okay, maybe we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Yeah, well, I want to talk, I want to talk about something that, well, we want to talk about something that, there seems to be some stigma around mental health and whether it's really health, and it is health. And it's interesting because, for a long time, it was something that we just never talked about because unless you were like physically sick or physically ill, it made it very difficult to put into words like how you're feeling, right? Like you can't, calling out of work because you're sad or anxious, or not feeling like getting out of bed because you're depressed. Like people didn't take that seriously. And so, you know a lot of times you hear people saying, well, that person was always smiling, and I never thought that person was sad. And depression looks like a smile, and that's the crazy thing about it. And with a high pressure job like real estate, where the market is always up and down, um, it can be really difficult to keep that motivation up and to keep yourself positive. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves so I don't screw it up. So I'm just going to start on my screen who's next to me, and it's Pete Cook. Hey, Pete, thanks for being here.
Happy to join you. I'm Pete Cook. I'm out of Denver, Colorado. Been in real estate 20 years. And yeah, happy to be here.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Just
Me
kidding.
too. I haven't figured out how to get out yet.
They won't let you out.
No.
Well, I got Holly Love. Holly was the one that approached me to do this. So thank you for reaching out. We appreciate it. Holly's my co-host. So Holly, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself? Let people know who you are.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is something that I really saw a need, not only within my market center, but within our community, is that the real estate industry right now, as you all feel, is a little bit different. So I've got some agents who are so busy, and I've got some who are not so busy. And so we're having a lot of the mindset conversations. And so anyways, my name's Holly Love. I'm a team leader for 4 years. I've been in the real estate industry for almost a decade now. And I absolutely love this industry. If anybody asked me, what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was not this. And this has been the most rewarding in so many different capacities. So again, thank y'all for joining us. We're going to talk a lot of real conversation today. But we also want to talk some actionable conversation today, so that if you guys are struggling with something or need help with something, that we can maybe push you 1 degree in the right direction. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. And let's go to Tyler Elstrom. Tyler, how's it going? Say hi, introduce yourself.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name's Tyler Elstrom. I'm a MAPS coach. I've done over 9,000 individual coaching calls now with real estate agents, most that have ADHD. That's my niche.
Only 9,000.
and more. And then I also ran a team that was doing about 300 sales a year. And then I also have a mental health background. So I worked with like inpatient residential and crisis intervention, that kind of stuff. And then I have ADHD. I'm on the autism spectrum. I have diagnosed with OCD, PTSD, lots of cool letters. And so I'm very grateful to be having this conversation. And then I also started Keller Williams ADHD community. And then I also have a brokerage agnostic one, ADHD real estate mastermind on Facebook. And so in less than 8 months, we have collectively, I think, almost 5,000 members between the two.
Yeah, the ADHD group is awesome. Go ahead and join that.
That's amazing.
I'm going to drop the link to the group just in the
Thank you.
chat there. Tyler, with your OCD, you must have been going nuts when I didn't send you the calendar invite until like 10:30 this morning.
I mean, it's what's really interesting. OCD, I mean, can show up in a lot of different ways. I like to be prepared, but it's very interesting when you get into it how it can show up. So that I would say is not like a big trigger for my OCD. Did I love it? No, but I knew I did it. I know you. I know you'd send me the link at some point before it started. And if not, then I've got a free hour to work. So.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So Justin Mercer, go ahead, say hello. People know you as the tattooed realtor. I really don't know why that's the case. But say hi, introduce yourself.
Hey, Justin Mercer. I'm out in Arizona. Sorry. I was at the gym. I had my schedule wrong too. So, I've been in real estate for 4 years. I got a team out here, called Tattoo Real Estate Group. We got 12 agents, and we do a lot of the. We have a retail side and an investment side to our business. So we have about 12 agents on the retail team, and then we have about 5 on the wholesale fix and flip.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, that's nationwide. So I've been doing real estate for 4 years, and glad to be part of this community and meet everyone.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for being here. I'll just round it out. So I'm Nick Baldwin. Been in real estate for about 17 years, catching up to Pete. And I have run multiple teams in a couple different states, Michigan and New Jersey specifically. I'm also co-founder of Lab Coat Agents, one of the largest social media communities on the social medias. I too have a cocktail of different diagnosis: depression, anxiety, ADHD, and it's a challenge every single day. And we're going to jump into how that affects me and how it affects you guys and how we navigate that. So let's just kind of jump into it. So I just want to kind of jump into the nitty-gritty of it. So like real estate is a very high pressure industry, and it's kind of crazy how people like us would want to jump into something like that. So how do you guys deal with getting up every day and just jumping into this high pressure stressful situation, knowing that you may not feel mentally ready to do that? Who wants to start off? I'll start with Tyler.
Yeah, well, with ADHD, which obviously that's like my thing, my special interest as well. What's interesting is we're finding that very likely over half of agents may have ADHD. And one of the traits you hear about, the can't focus, can't sit still. You don't hear about the other stuff, all the other things behind it, and also some of the good stuff. And one of those things is we're really good under pressure, under stress, because we have less dopamine. That's what studies show. And so the average thing that might spike someone's dopamine, which if you have too much, it creates a lot of anxiety. For us, we might get a baseline and get calm under pressure. So I would say that's one thing. And then 2, we can hyper focus on things that we really love. And so and I don't use discipline. Like that's with like the autism, with like I have panic. Not anymore. Like discipline is not a tool in my toolbox. It's how do you get your business to be in alignment with your values and enjoyment, and you're helping somebody, and it's like things you're passionate about, you like to talk about. So I would say that's what I've done is I've built my whole business, my whole life around how my brain works and what I like to do. So if I have a morning where I can't get out of bed, then I'm probably going to stay in bed because that means something's really wrong.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, you got to do what you have to do, right? Pete, what about you? Like, how are you handling, especially now the market's so up and down and weird and the inventory is so low, how do you stay positive and motivated to keep going?
So I have depression and anxiety, and it really fluctuates, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't have a magic pill, but what's really helped me in the past few years is to understand that I have down days and up days. And when I'm down, if I'm really down, I just give myself a break and take the time off to not worry about that I'm not doing my job or not focused at lead gen. I get hung up with not being in the right mindset to make calls, to really reach out to people. and I'll give myself a break on those days and do what I can to exercise or do whatever it takes to kind of get my mindset back. But for me, it's been giving myself a break, because if I am down and I don't do my job, I sometimes get worse. It becomes just this loop. But if I get out of that and just take a day or take some time, I get back in and I'm better the next day.
Awesome. I love that. Hey, Justin, you've been in the business for 4 years. So I feel like you jumped in during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So like, how was that for you? And like, how did that, what did that do, for your mental health, like jumping into the business in such a like weird time where nobody knew how to navigate it?
So I think I got some great insight for this, especially for new agents, because I came to real estate from a career field where I wasn't happy. Before then, I was a teacher, and then I drove a semi for 13 years. So I was working 60, 70-hour weeks. You're talking 15-hour days, 120-degree weather, back-breaking labor. I did that for 13 years, and that's what killed my mental health. It ruined 2 marriages. It ruined my relationship with my kids, ruined my self-esteem. It ruined everything with me, to the point where a lot of people don't know real estate saved my life. I was going to kill myself because of a work field, just a job, and I was living vicariously through everybody else, just like wishing I had their life because I was unhappy with my job, and I was just in that mind space where no one else would hire me, so I was kind of stuck here. Real estate came out of like it was just like a life-saving tool for me. I've always wanted to do it, and to the point where I didn't want to be around. I said, you know what, I've always wanted to do this. I'm just going to try it. And I literally got licensed in 2 weeks while I was working a full-time 70-hour week job. So real estate, to me, it was a life-saving tool. So like being in the business, when I started struggling, like I had a great success my first year, great success my second year. Third year, I got an office and started a team at the tanking of the industry. So that started getting me back on that thought process I had before, which is like, oh crap, if I fail, like I'm not supposed to be, like I'm not going to be around, whatever. I was getting depressed until I started being open. Tyler had me on his podcast, but a lot of things I've said lately is stuff I've kept inside, bottled up. But when you express how you feel and your fears, and you realize everyone around you that has the success you want, the people you look up to, they face the same thing through 2 or 3 times, to the point where I went from having a bad month and not wanting to be here again, like just having that thought, I wasn't going to take any action, to opening myself up to other agents and seeing where they struggle. They claimed bankruptcy 3 times. They lost investment properties, all this thing. And it literally, I went back to work the next day more motivated than I ever was before. Not afraid, knowing I had the tools and the blueprint that I could start back over if I ever needed to. So I feel like being more open with my business and what I was thinking in my head helped me navigate the downtime.
Yeah, that's I love that, because being real and authentic and transparent about your situation is super brave. It's like a lot of people can't do that. So yeah, definitely I applaud you for doing that. That's so great. So I'm glad real estate saved your life.
Yeah, I really did. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? How you wanna add to that, or you want to just jump to another question?
I want to say one of my favorite quotes that Gary Keller says is that real estate is an inside to outside experience. And if we're not willing to share what goes on inside to the outside, then we're kind of defeating the purpose of that. So thank you. Yeah.
Say that again.
I will absolutely repeat that. Gary Keller says that real estate is an inside to outside experience. So everything we do starts on the inside, our mindset, our internal being, everything about who we are, and we project that to the outside. And if we're not, in a place to be able to share that, we're robbing people of some amazing things. So thank you for sharing that story. It's amazing, Justin. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you got into real estate. So that'll bring me to my next question, Nick, is what strategies do you guys utilize to maintain a healthy work-life balance? Because we know that with high stress in this industry, we get to where we're just kind of like robots and machines, and we kind of tend to forget about ourselves. So what is it that you guys do?
I block some time for myself. I've got a great friend in the business that takes every Tuesday off no matter what. And I was just like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. But what happened, I've been doing it now, is I know that even if I'm busy and working Sunday night at 9 p.m. or something I don't really want to do at the time, I know that I have this little island of ride a bike or do whatever. And that gets me pretty far, just to make sure there's absolutely a few hours a week. It's usually more than that, but I've just, my phone's off and I've planned around it and I'm not answering anything.
It's amazing. I think that we should all be advocates for time off in this industry because it is a nonstop.
No one tells you to take time off.
Yeah, I love it. What about you, Tyler? How do you take care of yourself?
Having set time off every single week, the same day, and maybe that's like even more so important because of the autism part, is just having a structure. I think it can work for anybody if you can depend on, okay, this time every week after this time I have time off, then it can help you in a big way if you're in the middle of something stressful or messy or something like that. So having that to rely on. For some agents, taking a full Sunday off is not possible. And if you're in that camp, then doing 2 half days a week is like a necessity. So if you can't take a full Sunday off or you can't take a full Saturday or whatever, figure out a way. And you might do, Saturday after 2 until Sunday at 1 or something. And that gives you, technically 24 hours, or maybe it's a Tuesday off and you go do something and then a Sunday, but that's really, really important. And if, as a coach now that I've seen, if you feel like you can't do that and then you finally do it and you realize, oh my gosh, people respect this and they actually apologize if they call during these hours, you start to set that expectation at a listing appointment, and all of a sudden, like, you realize the world still goes if you have time off. So that, and then my phone goes off at a certain time and it goes in a different room. So that's,
Same.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think boundaries are really important.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I love that Pete said that it was a Tuesday. Like, it doesn't have to be a Friday or a Saturday. It doesn't have to be your typical work week, quote unquote. That was awesome. What about you, Justin? What do you think?
So that's something I still struggle with a lot, is making time for myself, because I'm so, before it was my personal business, now it's like a team business and another side of the business that I'm looking out for. But just hired a sales manager recently, and my other business partner in the investment side, he more took a step up in the coaching role for the agents we have on the investment side. So just recently, in the past couple of months, I've been able to stay back a little bit more, which kind of, it did help, breathe a breath of fresh air from the last 2 years we were facing, because that was almost every day trying to drum up business and bounce everything out. So just recently I have been focusing more on Sundays right now. I don't think I've done real estate on Sunday for the past 3 Sundays, and it felt really good. So nice. I'm just now adding it in. You realize how important it is. You see people that have great work-life balance, and I was like, yeah, that'll eventually come in real estate. I didn't think it would come this soon, but I'm taking baby steps to get there.
And so for everybody watching today, you guys, whenever y'all take that Tuesday or that Sunday off, does your world come crashing down? Does real estate come to a complete halt? No. Take the day.
Did anyone die because of it?
No, take the day off, right? I heard Justin say something really crucial, and that was success through others. And so learning to utilize that is super powerful. So congratulations on your hire for your sales manager.
Yeah, there's a book called, it's called The Who or something, The Who. I don't know if you guys know the book, but
yeah,
it's great. I heard some little Cliff Notes version of it, but it was good to hear.
And I was going to say, I feel like, especially if you're very buyer heavy, right? It's a lot harder for agents who are very buyer heavy to take days off. And if it's basically free, or not free, but it's not, you can hire a showing assistant and not come out of pocket directly by hiring someone to show homes for you. If they're licensed, paying them a percentage at closing. So you don't have to pay them per door. And usually when there's a percentage at closing, they're more motivated to really step up their game. And if you're at buyer heavy, that's a great way to leverage your time so you can have more time to yourself. So if you haven't done that already, look for someone, and it might be another agent in your office who is kind of down on their luck and could use the extra money, and you've got a big buyer business. that's another way to like have time to yourself. Start leveraging other people around you.
Can I speak to that? The buyer process?
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a script I go over with new buyers that I talk about the days of the week, and houses are listed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Mhm.
We show houses Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we're negotiating by Sunday or Monday. Nothing new is typically listed on a Sunday. So if we're
Mhm.
planning on Sunday showings, I can get someone to show you, but I'm typically not available. We have to hustle for Friday and Saturday and just put the pressure back on the buyer to understand that's the time to go. And I
Yep.
wind up with a lot of Sundays not showing a house or hiring an agent to show a house, but negotiating, but at least not in the car with a full day late in the process where we're missing houses.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful script. Everybody write that down.
Totally. I love that. Everybody answered that question, right? Yeah. Okay, good, cool. So all right, let's jump into another question. Looking at our questions here, I just want to get a good one here. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna make one up. What do you guys do? You know, like I have certain things that I need to do throughout the day to keep my mind in a positive place. Like Justin, you mentioned you were just at the gym. Like if the gym is a non-negotiable for me Monday through Friday, so like I have to get there every morning by 7:30. So, you know, what do you do throughout the day, or things that you do throughout the day that are non-negotiables that kind of keep you in a good place mentally? Whoever wants to start.
Exercise as much as I can. It's not quite daily. It's probably every other day, but that really helps get me to zero. And then time blocking and having boundaries. Just like Justin, I almost made this call from my car because I get the best focus there. You know, at home, it's pets and whatever, and laundry and refrigerator, and at work, it's friends. So sometimes I feel really good if I've done an hour towards my business versus like going to the office and just dabbling and ending the day saying, oh, I only made 4 calls. So if I get my lead gen done in an isolated, barricaded way, I feel really good about the rest of the day.
Cool. That's very simple. Yeah. Awesome. Tyler, what about you?
So I would say, like, for me personally, I used to have to do a lot more things. I did really intensive trauma work for like 4 or 5 years, and that cut down on all of the things I had to do to maintain. If that makes sense. So that was intense, right? Doing trauma work, meds. Like I'm kind of looking for as much as I can do where I don't have to do certain actions, because I have, especially with ADHD, we have what's called executive dysfunction. So it can be harder to start the thing. It can be harder to stop, task switch, all that stuff. So my main goal is like, what are all the things I can do that are like a permanent solution? Because I used to have to do so much to kind of maintain. So now that I'm at that place, on top of like getting the right medication, trauma work, sleep is really important. That would be one. Some kind of movement in the morning, walking, exercise. Even just movement, right? 15 minutes of walking or something small can be really helpful. Like I have fidget toys, because this with ADHD, we can go from like understimulated to overstimulated multiple times throughout the day. I also have a couple different chairs I switched to, hot tea, so all these stuff to kind of like still invigorate the brain, I guess, when we can kind of get understimulated. And then I would say probably one of the most powerful things is not beating yourself up when things get hard, when you can't do something, because that just makes it worse. So like red, yellow, and green days are one concept where you're not going to have the same energy every day. So if you have a plan for a green day, a yellow day, and a red day, and you adjust your expectations, then you're not going to beat yourself up for not crushing it every day, because it's so unrealistic. So that's a little bit of.
I love that. That's so awesome. Yeah, for me, it's like I said, exercise. I'm also a MAPS coach too. So, you know, if I have like a bunch of calls like back to back, Tyler, you know what that can be like. And I have like a 30, usually the calls are about 30 minutes. So if I have like a 30-minute break in between calls, I'll just jump on the PlayStation and do a round of Fortnite. Like, dude, no joke. Like 2:00 in the afternoon, I will be playing Battle Royale in between calls, because that just gets my energy. Like, it's so much fun. You can blame my kids for that. Justin, what about you?
So I got 3 that I do just to kind of keep me back in the loop. One is everyone hates Mondays. I don't know, like this, like the popular day hate is Monday. So
Yeah.
Monday is like one of my favorite days of the week. It's because at night there's a show called Kill Tony, and when I was a truck driver,
that's a good show.
Yeah, I used to listen to it when I was a truck driver. That's what got me through the day, was listening to it. But when you watch it, it's a whole different experience, and I love it. So every Monday night, I get wings, I get ice cream, and I watch Kill Tony. So it's something I look forward to every day. I wake up on Mondays, it's just like hurry up day, like so I'm like trying to stay as busy as I can Mondays to get through that. Second is
for those of you who don't know, Kill Tony is a podcast, but it's also very visual, and it's a bunch of stand-up comics, right? And so like they always introduce new comics. They have a minute to do their stand-up piece, and
then they get roasted.
It's fun. It's a fun listen. But if you're easily offended, I would stay away from it.
Yeah. The second thing I do is I find people like my previous job where I knew where it got me mentally, but I see deliveries drivers during the day, so I try to buy one of them at lunch every week. Just kind of, I know it's funny because when I used to park at the Keller Williams, my office, before I had my own office, we were right next to the Circle K, which is a convenience store.
Yeah.
And I would see people delivering, and I would feel guilty inside because I'm like, I know what they're dealing with. I know it's a long day. I know they're stressed. And now I try to find one of those drivers every week and go buy them lunch, just something simple, because it helps. It's for them, but it's mostly for me. Like it helps me like kind of be grateful where I got to. And then third is I go to the office. So I've wanted an office my whole life. I always dreamed to have my own office. And when I was at Keller Williams, I had one. It was just like a smaller office in the back. But when I started a team, I got an office over here in downtown Gilbert, but I wanted a different vibe to a real estate office. So like we have like graffiti walls, really nice furniture, nice setup, but it looks like a cool place to go to. And then in the back of our office is kind of like a speakeasy type vibe, but we have a tattoo artist, we have a barber, we have a stylist. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, their clients have to go through our real estate office to get to their studio. So it's cool because now it also keeps me, my office is very front of the office, so everyone that goes to the front door has to come past me. So I get to see everybody, say hi, smile, because they're going into a real estate office to go to their tattoo appointment or their barber or their stylist.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
It really helps me. I look forward to going to the office every single day. Like I don't ever dread going to the office. It helps me get out of the house and actually get motivated to work.
Yeah, I hear that. So like, I work from home, and so sometimes that can be detrimental to my mental health because like it's me and the dog until my kids get home at like 3:00. And so who works from home primarily? Pete, Tyler, Tyler, what do you do what do you do when you're not surrounded by people, right? Like in your house all day? Like what are some tips to like not fall into that dark place that people.
Yep. I'll set a timer like on Alexa and just say, hey, ping me in an hour, whatever. And I'll know that I'm going to just do what I got to do until that thing goes off. So it isn't like I'm working. Oh, I can flip the laundry while I'm on the phone, because if I do that, then I pick something else up or I go by the fridge or whatever happens. Keeps me kind of at my desk just to say I'm going to work for this period of time and wait for that alarm.
Okay,
and take a break.
Okay, got it. That's awesome. Tyler, what about you? Any like advice for those who work at home?
Yeah, I'll say first off, I mean, as a coach now, because I've done it full time for over 6 years, I choose the clients I work with and the topics. It doesn't show up in the same way as it did when I was an agent, because I'm literally in my complete joy zone every day. Like I love every single client I have so much, and the KWAHD community. So I'm like thinking back when I wasn't like so in my joy zone. I mean, there are times though that with OCD, you can have intrusive thoughts. ADHD, we have 10 times the amount of thoughts as someone without ADHD. So if you have OCD on top of that, it's like pouring gasoline on it, right? So I'm like, I would say, I schedule my stuff back to back. It's like the dead space, I think, if you have too much. And so I also watch like task switching. And everybody's brain is different. So for Nick, like you could go play video games. For me, that's too much of a task switch. It's too much change. So I need to be in work mode. Otherwise, because I play Fortnite too, sometimes. But
dude, what's your username? Let's go. Let's do it.
I play Fortnite too. This is hilarious.
I can say that.
I'll text you guys. Yeah. I'll text you guys, and we'll exchange.
Yeah, but like for me, if I played Fortnite in the middle of the day, I would have so much trouble transitioning back. So I have to stay in a certain mode, and kind of keep it in buckets, or it'll be too hard for me to switch back and forth. So that's one thing. And then eating, that's a lot. Like with neurodivergence, you can have less ability to pick up on certain senses, whether you're hungry, whether you're thirsty, whether you're tired. Like sometimes that takes us longer. So I'll set timers or have it in breaks. I have the same schedule every day, the same breaks that I know I'm going to eat. Because if I don't eat, I have lower blood sugar and I don't realize it. I'm like, why am I irritable? Why am I bummed out? Why do I keep having like worse mental health? And it's like, dude, like you feel crappy because you haven't eaten. So it's really more like some of the foundational pieces of just like self-care. You know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Nick, I didn't really answer your question. Can I do a better job of answering the question?
Sure, go ahead.
I love it.
Yeah. When I wake up and I do not want to go to the office, I talk myself into going to the office. When I'm starting my day and I'm in pajamas and it's 9 a.m. and I feel like I haven't done anything and I'm starting to slip, I can feel myself going.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like dress like an adult and go to the office, I go to a Starbucks. Mm-hmm. Just because, I can maybe spiral isn't the word, but I just get worse. If I'm not in the right mindset and I'm home, it's just like, it just gets worse. So I just go somewhere.
Yeah. That's a good piece of advice. Yeah. It's funny because like my wife makes fun of me because, during COVID, I started just buying like all sorts of comfy clothes. Right. And so yesterday we had to go to my kids' band concert and like I literally had to look for regular outside clothes. Like it's so hard for me to leave the house because I only have sweatpants and tank tops. Like
I'm with you. I just put this on for this, trust me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, half the time I'm on my maps calls with like a nice button down shirt and like I'm wearing like track pants on the bottom. Holly, why don't you go ahead and jump in for the next talking point?
Well, I just wanted to say to that too. So as a team leader, I have a little bit of a different perspective with agents and coming to the office and the isolation that comes along with this industry too, because I tell people it will take all of a week for you to be talking to your volleyball Wilson in this industry if you don't get in the office. And so I will 1000% say, Pete, yes, get up, get dressed, put on some big boy clothes. I call them big girl clothes, and go somewhere because home is comfortable, right? Home is our safe place, and being able to get out of home kind of puts you in a different mindset and in a different area of your mind. And so I 1000% would relate to that, and I see more success with our agents for the ones who get up and get dressed and come to class or come to training or come and work in the office. So I would vouch for that all day long.
I asked my first team leader in November of 2007 when I came from a new home builder to this. Yeah. And I said, oh my gosh, what's the thing I have to do to survive? Because I was out of money. It was the bottom of the market. I'd been let go by a builder. Mm-hmm. And he said, come to the office at 8 a.m. The people that are at the office at 8 a.m. are doing it and they've got business and you will grow with them. And everyone else that goes to a coffee shop at 10 is really just behind the ball. And I did that religiously. And I connected with awesome agents and my business grew.
I want to go back to fitness for a second because you just reminded me of something. One of the reasons why for me, getting to the gym is important, but getting to the gym as early as I possibly can. Like if I could get to the gym by 6, I would, but I can't because my kids need to get off to school. But the earlier you get to the gym, you're going to be surrounded by people who are really into taking care of themselves. Like they're prioritizing their physical health, which also is part of their mental health. So just like, and being around those people is just going to motivate you even more. And that's just like getting to the office as early as you can. Those people are going to be the most driven for the most part, so some things to take into account. Anyway, Holly, go ahead.
No, it's the correlation of all of this, right? It's how all of our worlds blur together. It's not work and personal. It's unfortunately we're doing all of it at the same time. So that's a great example of it. One of the questions that I had for you guys, we are when the times get tough in real estate, so do the agents and the co-ops that we work with, right? And so, how do you navigate a difficult colleague? Maybe one that doesn't seem as well trained, maybe one that doesn't have the communication skills. I'm sugarcoating all of the bad things that I could say about some agents right now, the things that I've heard, right? So how do you navigate a difficult co-op with, just the high pressure that's associated with our field? How do you do that? Justin, I haven't heard from you in a minute, and I want to make sure that you are heard. So tell me how you do that.
So that's something I struggle with as a leader, because I never had a position where I was leading anyone before. So when I started a team, it was also new to me. So I used to turn off. So I knew where I was at with my work field prior and where it got me to. So when I was in real estate, I knew the work it took, and I know there's 85% fail rate. So a lot of people know that coming in, and when they have goals for themselves, but they're not doing nothing to achieve those goals, I would turn off. And when I used to interview agents for my team, I would tell them up front that I said, hey, like I will never be upset if the production's not there, but if the activity's not there, that's when you're going to lose me. But I'm very upfront with them and tell them to say, hey, like I'm not in a position right now where I can like hold your hand and I don't know how to say these right, but like basically feel sorry for you. Like we all know the work we need to do every single day to get the goal we want. And I tell them it's not a production based thing that I'm looking for you from. It's activity based. So if right. There's no production and there's no activity, I don't know what more I can do for you. Having the sales manager, he's a pastor for 25 years. So his communication with people and inspiring them and getting them to see themselves and motivate them with what they're good at is one of the reasons I brought him on my team, because that hard message, I deliver it so hard. He's more delivering it in a softer way now. So I previously told him like my issue with being a leader. And I do want to lead. I do want to be that strict father, like with my kids. I do want to be that kind of role with a team, because I want them to see that like this industry can change your life, and it can get you everywhere you want to go, but you have to put the work in. Like this isn't a job where you get because your aunt made $300,000 selling houses. Like you have to, it requires a lot of hard work. So having the sales manager now with me, and him having that background of being a pastor, and he's a coach, man. That guy is so good at talking. So he helps me out with where I lack.
That is a beautiful thing as a leader, is to be aware of your weaknesses, and we all have them. And the fact that you are aware of that and you have hired to that, man, it's the yin to the yang, right? It's like the peanut butter to the jelly. That's exactly what you needed to do. And that's amazing. That's awesome. What about you, Pete?
In terms of handling an agent that's difficult on like the other side of the deal? That's a great question. I just had this conversation with a friend, and
then I want to hear how you had it with your friend. Don't over.
No, I will. You know,
what you told your friend.
We were talking about the fact that the difficulty of the job and mental health and psychology, really, and I really was just reiterating that I'm the filter. You know, I've got this agent occasionally sending me this offer I'm working on that's doesn't understand dates, and it's just bizarre. But like I'm helping her boil it down to what my client needs, and not letting them know I'm disappointed with that agent. So that when you stay your client's advocate, you're just worried about like what their result is, and it becomes more focused. And I don't think about the other agent and why what they're doing is what they're doing. I just think about what my seller in this situation needs, and just boiling it back down and avoiding everything I'd like to yell.
That's an amazing. That's awesome to be able to hold that in. That the wanting to yell is what everybody,
or just just going down the path of like why and what are they thinking, you know? I don't look at anyone else's Facebook or social media when I'm dealing with them because I don't want to know more. I just want to deal with my client and what we're getting.
That's awesome. I keep this quote on my desk right here, and it says, people always want to change the easiest thing, and the hardest thing to change is themselves. And I think about that all the time. And, it's for you to not want to point fingers, because it's so easy to go back to your client and say, ugh, this agent,
Right.
brand new, they're in the fours. If you're in Georgia, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's awesome. So way to have that self-control over that one. Tyler, are you in production still? What about you? And maybe it's a difficult coaching client. I heard you say that you love them all, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, did I cut you off?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, especially working mental health and as a coach for 6 years, I think really just everybody wants to be heard and get their needs met. And so if you have somebody who's difficult, chances are, they're still a good person and there's just a communication breakdown. And so I would say it doesn't really matter who it is. If somebody's difficult, I just want to know, what are they needing? What are they afraid of? What are they, why are they feeling difficult? Because if it's another agent, they're probably stressed.
Yeah.
They might be worried about their mortgage. Maybe they didn't get trained very well. Maybe they have a learning disability and they weren't able to absorb certain. I mean, I think we just have to be completely curious and give everyone the benefit of the doubt until beyond a doubt that somebody that's can't be trusted. I don't know. I haven't run across that. So if somebody's difficult, I'm gonna help them and have compassion and be really curious and ask them all the questions. And I can't think back to a real estate agent that or a coaching client that is ever an enemy, ever. I don't,
yeah. And that's one of the things that I tell my agents all the time is come from curiosity and ask questions, because you never know what they're facing. And it's, it could be that they're brand new, like you said, and lack training, or they didn't even know they needed the training because their broker spoke so highly of them to get them. So
they're confused, or ego, or they feel insecure, or even if you look at, looking at mental health, because I worked in mental health, right? I worked with people who had narcissism, who had personality disorders, who had split personalities. And I loved all of them dearly too, because at the core, if somebody is off, I think we throw out the toxic way too much. He's a narcissist, she's a narcissist, she's got a, I think when you look at the clinical diagnosis, it's so overused. But even if you go to the root of those diagnoses, it's usually from trauma. Yeah. So if I have someone that's a narcissist or whatever, narcissism, it's that, or personality disorder, you've been through so much trauma that it literally changed your brain permanently as a kid. And so you're going to have boundaries, but compassion at the same time. I mean, if it's emotionally abusive, get the hell out of there. Right. Yeah. But, I think, I don't know. I just love everybody, and there's usually a reason for everything.
That's so awesome.
Cool. I love it. Hey, we're going to wrap up with one last question, if that's cool with everybody. So let's go to something, not that we weren't being positive before, but something super positive. So how do you celebrate successes and practice gratitude to promote, your mental well-being and stay motivated in your real estate career?
I guess I'll start. Like I said, that once a week, giving someone lunch, that is something that really, it helps me get through the day and be thankful. But I've never been in a position before real estate to give. I've always had a giving heart, giving soul. Came from a single mom background. She worked 3 jobs. We were alone because she's working so much. But I've never been able to give, but we've been such a giving nature type people. We give people food. But now, my first year in real estate, I went and fed the homeless. We do 100 rotisserie chickens. We fill up the bus. We go out and feed the homeless. That year we did, I do a lot of charity for kids. So we filled I bought a school bus, one of those mini buses, and I wrapped it. But now for every year we fill it up with toys and give it to Jacob's Mission, which is for kids. And then right now we're working, I just joined the Y on the board. So I joined the board for the Y, and they do a lot of charity. And our goal right now is to raise $250,000. But one of the separate things I'm doing is I'm going to fill the bus up with school supplies to give to kids. I used to work in Title I school, so you see the kids' background, what they're dealing with at home, and you realize a lot of kids, I see kids come to school every day, they smell because their clothes can't get washed. They're wearing the same thing every day, and it really breaks your heart. So a lot of the charity I do is from my past through teaching, and we're going to fill the whole entire school bus up with backpacks, school supplies. I have my barber and a couple other barbers. We're going to cut the hair for free and give shoes to the kids. So I bring the real estate community in and give with me. Like, I have never seen, like, when I post on my social media, like, we're filling the bus up with toys, school supplies, anything, I get such a huge outreach from lenders, title, real estate agents. And it's really cool to see everyone come together and give. And it's not the title company coming to say, who do you use for title? They're dropping off buckets full of things. It's not lenders saying, who do you use to lending? They're dropping off toys, and agents coming in. It's really cool to bring like a community together. So like, I get joy from being able to actually for once give in my life. And that's what like really helps me.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I love that. Yeah, my wife works in a school. She's getting her master's in special education. But yeah, for sure. Like, some of those kids, you know, yeah, being at school is like, you know, the best place for them to be, because they go home and it's just
their
not
escape.
Yeah, exactly.
And your giving is contagious. I want you to know that. So when people see that, they want to join in, and that's amazing. So keep it up. Keep up.
I think people have a giving heart naturally. They want to give. It's just if they don't have an alley to give it to, or like something that motivates them to want to give, a lot of people like just kind of keep it in. But
or they don't know how to give.
Yeah,
You won't know. Yeah, you would be surprised that the people were like, I've always wanted to do something like this. I just never knew how to, or the right connection. So yeah, you offering an avenue for people to give is huge too. So keep that up.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Hey, Pete, what about you? What do you do to, you know, to practice gratitude and celebrate successes?
I don't think I can follow that act.
I know. Good luck.
Yeah, we're all like,
Nice job, man.
Wanted to go first.
I literally
school bus and
nothing. I literally sat there going, okay, I could step up my game. I don't think I think about that enough. You know, I don't like recognition. I don't think about like celebrating my own successes. But gosh, I could give back. I mean, done Red Day and some things, but I guess my mind is just completely off center from how much Justin's giving. That was just awesome.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it can be super simple. Like when I was running my team in New Jersey, we would donate $100 from every closing to the local animal shelter. So we would at the end of the year make a big donation. And so one year we donated like, I don't know what it was, like $4,000 or $5,000. And oh, that's my mom, Roberta. Oh, hey, Mom. She says, let me finish my thought before I read what my mom wrote. And so it was the largest single donation that the shelter has ever received. And when I posted it on social media, like, it literally went viral. It was shared like 2,500 times. You know, people were calling us, telling us how awesome that was. So it can be super simple things like that. Like, you don't have to go out buy a school bus. But,
no,
but I think that's so awesome. I would love to own a school bus.
Yeah, no, I just got inspired. So all the better.
That was also for like marketing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's genius.
I think it's awesome.
Money well spent.
We also did a food drive for animals, where we collected. It was very intricate the way we did it, but I think we collected like 1,000 pounds of food and donated it to the animal shelter. Nice. But what does my mom say? My mom says, giving back when you feel bad or sad, like stocking a little community pantry or dropping off some clothes to a community center, picks up right away. I used to take Nick B to my informal giveaways to instill that feeling. Yeah, so that's Mom. That's Mama Baldwin right there.
Words of wisdom.
So, yep. Tyler, what about you?
I think just like being in your purpose really helps, you know, and getting clear on what that looks like, how to align your business with that. That just makes everything easier. And the other thing I want to throw out there is just something a little bit different too, is what I see sometimes in working mental health and is like this, I've got to be positive, I've got to be happy. And it's what it's creating is this big resistance to like whatever's coming up for you. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like I need to get out of this. I need to get in a better mood. I got to get out. And then you're creating anxiety on top of it. And then you can't get out of it. And then you can spiral. And so it's that balance of like, how are you allowing yourself to feel your emotions and validate what's coming up, but also knowing when it's not helpful anymore, right? Because you don't want to sit in it and just like spiral in it. So are you feeling emotions, which can feel like terrifying, but also can be like the steps to healing? Are you validating those emotions? Are you holding the space for them? Are you not creating resistance? Like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to like be anxious. Like all of these things. It's not like, and what I learned too in OCD therapy was there used to be even in bold, right? It's like if you have a negative thought, you switch your bracelet. This class that they teach about like mindset, that used to be a thing, is you switch this bracelet over here if you have a negative thought. Well, that's a compulsion for OCD. You're like, it's actually like not great. They don't do that anymore. But this like, oh, I got to switch this with something else, and this like anxiety about what is can actually make things worse. And so finding whatever that balance is, where you're still holding the space for things and not going into like toxic positivity, but also you are doing the practices that have been mentioned when it's time to pull you out and you're not just like ruminating. So it's like, okay, now it is time to make a gratitude list. Now it is time to get some movement. Now I do need to do a pattern interrupt. And that looks different for everybody. So I just want to throw that out there, that it's not always just, oh my gosh, like don't stress out if you're feeling certain things, but know when it's time to shift, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
It's like when you hear me say, it's fine, everything's fine, I'm fine. That's, you know, it's not okay.
Yeah, and then it comes out other ways, right? You numb out, you might drink a little bit too much, you might stay up too late, you might
I'm paralyzed.
Like getting paralyzed and or like dissociate, right? I used to dissociate before I was able to feel emotions, where I literally like things wouldn't feel real, like derealization, depersonalization. I mean, and so by like letting yourself feel and like seeing what you need, because it might be that you need to go sit in a room with the lights off with calm music. It's not that you got to do affirmations in the mirror with big energy. That's going to overstimulate you and make things worse. So
You're so right.
So it's really paying attention to what you need. That's really what it's about.
I
agree 1000% to that.
Yep. Well, guys, we're at the end of our time. This has been awesome. I hope those of you watching, were inspired and felt like you're being seen, because too often we might feel like we're not being seen, and we might feel like it's not okay to not be okay. And I always say it's okay to not be okay, and take as much time as you need, right? Like it's just for you to take the time that you need is what's the most important. And like you brought up toxic positivity, like I could talk for days on that. And I can also talk for days on hustle culture. Like I feel like it's so toxic, hustle culture and toxic positivity. I could talk for days on how that is just so detrimental to someone's well-being. Like Justin, you were talking earlier about seeing everyone on social media was succeeding was bringing you down. Don't you know that every agent on social media is a millionaire?
Duh.
I mean, look at the cars they're driving, or look at the cars they're standing in front of. You know what I mean? Like
they're not theirs.
Right. I mean, you can be whoever you want. Social media is a highlight reel. So it's so important to share. Like I tell agents all the time, don't just share your successes. Share when a deal falls apart, or share when you overcame a difficult home inspection. Like, don't continuously share like every transaction is a walk in the park. Like, that's the wrong angle to take, because other agents are looking at you like, why is it so difficult for me? These people never seem to have trouble. When that's not in actuality what life really is.
You got to call that failing forward. You have
for sure
failing forward and share that, no doubt.
For sure. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you all being here. If you registered for this webinar, I'll send out a recording in the next couple days. It's also on my YouTube channel. Just search Nick Baldwin on YouTube and you'll find my channel. and it's also live on my personal Facebook page. So if you want to rewatch it, definitely go ahead and check that out. But Pete, Tyler, Justin, Holly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Hope
you.
everyone has a great, positive day. And we'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
There.
You guys.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you all.